What's up, creeps? Yeah. Hey, what you doing there, honey? How you doing? Y'all ready for this? Because I'm ready. I'm ready to give it to you. Welcome to a brand new episode of your favorite horror podcast. That's right, motherfucker. Brain Stew. And yes, we are dropping this shit on your ass on none other than April Fool's Day. I think that's a perfect date that perfectly represents the kind of behavior that we project on this episode, on this program, on this podcast every single week. My name is Justin.
I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Brady O'Reilly O'Toole O'Shea.
B-Rata Alada, the B-Ratty with wings.
B-Ratty.
Ratatouille.
Ooh.
You know?
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
I think we're going to come up with a new one like every single week.
Yeah. We have to.
Right off the cuff. But ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in this week on the episode. We have a super special retrospective for you. But before we get into that shit, we have not taken the time in like many weeks to just shoot the shit around the room. And I know Jeremy has been all across the planet.
I do.
Couple weeks.
I am
dude, what the fuck is up, man?
Interplanetary traveler of sorts.
Yeah.
Except for the places that I go. We're often places like in the Midwest where you can eat really delicious, really fattening, awesome fucking food, man. Yeah, I went to.
Are you really calling White Castle awesome? Really?
You know what's really
Harold and Kumar went there.
Yeah, they sure did.
Oh, there's a movie about it. That's right. I'm sorry.
You know what's really weird about White Castle is sometimes like when there's freezer versions of things that you love, it ends up being like, okay, yeah, I can taste a little bit of that, but it's like the freezer version. Dude, literally, the frozen White Castle shit that you can get from the grocery store tastes identical to how it tastes in store.
No way.
Fucking identical, dude. To where I was like, yo, this is good, but it literally tastes exactly like the frozen ones. Like, they nailed it. Good for them. They figured out, quality control. Yeah, they're like, yeah, we deep fried them. Just throw them in the freezer, ship them out, get them the fuck out of here.
Is that what they sound like in the Midwest?
I don't know.
There's always that guy in the Midwest that sounds like that. What are you talking about?
It's usually Jeremy.
You're gonna finish smoking that cigarette? Like, you want the one that I'm smoking right now? Like, yeah, can I finish that? It's like, okay, here you go.
I'm not even gonna lie. I've been that guy in the past.
You were in Cincinnati, right?
I was in Cincinnati, where people call me daddy.
Last time I went there, I think it was like 2017, 2018. The whole city smelled like piss.
So it's like LA. So it's like LA then.
What were you doing there?
I went to work for there.
Oh, I thought you were at a dick sucking convention.
No, that was Columbus.
I know that you attend those on occasion, so I wasn't sure if that's, if Cincinnati was a big dick sucking.
For the last time, it's a hot dog eating contest.
Oh.
It was a county fair.
And you made some mistakes.
And I made some mistakes. I started too early. It was the judge. It wasn't the actual hot dog.
So I went to Horror Hound weekend, which, man, the last Horror Hound show I went to was in 2018 for the 40th anniversary of Halloween in Pasadena. So it was really great getting back to a Horror Hound show. Horror Hound has consistently been one of, if not like my favorite horror conventions out there. They run a really smooth show. They always get an awesome roster of guests. It's sometimes you go to these conventions and you get people that are like, they're volunteering there, and it's like, those are the people that you have to walk up to sometimes and ask questions, and they're like, I don't fucking know. I don't know. To where at Horror Hound, it's not like that. You walk up to somebody that's working there as a staff member, and you're like, hey, where's this? They're like, oh, let me help you out. And if they can't help you out, they find somebody that can help you out, to where other shows are like, I don't know, just keep walking around, maybe you'll find it. So I love Horror Hound. It was great being back at it. It was great seeing a lot of friends that I haven't seen in years either. And man, it felt like how conventions felt pre-pandemic. Because I've gone to some shows, over the past year. And, they've all kind of felt like, you feel the, post-COVID vibe to them. To where this one, man, it felt exactly like a show that I would have gone to in 2018, 2019. So it was great. Got to see Neve Campbell again. Got her on a full-size Scream poster. I got Uncle Lloyd Kaufman. Got him on a
Crazy Lloyd.
Crazy Lloyd. Got him on a Toxic Avenger 4 poster. Dude, the biggest one for me was Tony Cesir, who he needs more recognition. This is a guy that played Freddy Krueger, Stunt Freddy Krueger. He played Stunt the Thing in John Carpenter's The Thing, and he played Stunt Ghostface. He was the one that killed Kenny. In the news van. That was him. He was the stunt coordinator on that, and he's still working on big things. He was the stunt coordinator on the most recent Texas Chainsaw movie, and Scream 5. Oh no, I'm sorry. He did the 2003 Texas Chainsaw movie, but he did Scream 5. So he's still at it, man, and he's somebody that I've wanted to meet for years. So I got him on my The Thing poster. What's really rad is his daughters were with him, right? And so like your average fan didn't realize who the fuck they were. But I'm not your average horror fan, fellas.
No, he's not.
And ladies.
You are the above and beyond.
Yeah, I'm that nerd. I'm that nerd. I'm cool with that. So as I walk up to his table and I'm pulling my poster out, and I was like, hey, how's it going? I looked at the two chicks at his table and I was like, are you guys his daughters? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, holy shit. You guys were the jump rope girls in the original Nightmare on Elm Street. And they were like, yes, we were. And I was like, oh, fuck, that's awesome. Like, that's one of my all-time favorite movies. So when I got my picture with Tony, I asked his daughters, like, can you get in the picture with me? And they were like, yeah, of course. So it was pretty rad, man. I'm trying to think. Dick Warlock was there, which is a big deal because he retired from doing conventions, and, you know, he came out of retirement. He's doing a bunch of shows coming up, you know. So
that's wonderful. I'm really looking forward to meeting him.
Oh, he's great, man. He's great. And I got Adam Green. Adam Green's really cool because he's directed a bunch of movies and written a bunch of movies, and I really dig his filmography, and he signs for free. So that's unheard of these days. And you know who really always consistently surprises me is Kane Hodder, because this is a guy that's been doing horror conventions since the 80s, and he's at almost feasibly every horror convention that's out there, and there's a fucking lot of horror conventions now. And his line is always consistently long as fuck still. I'm talking about, I literally watched it because I was in Adam Green's line, and I was like, all right, Adam Green's line moves slow because he takes the time. He's like signing for free. So he's not in any rush to get anybody in and out, right? So I was like, all right, I saw his line was moving slow, so I jumped in line for him. And Kane Hodder's table was next to him, and there was nobody in line because Kane wasn't sitting there yet. Dude, no bullshit, I swear to God. The moment Kane sat at his table, a line of 80 people instantaneously formed. Like, literally out of fucking thin air, to where I was like,
hey, look, it's Jason fucking Voorhees!
Oh my God. It's the guy.
The security guard from Jason Goes to Hell.
It's the guy from Ghoulies Goes to College that fell down the stairs. Yeah, so, dude, like, instantly, to where I had started a full-size Hatchet poster, because Adam Green signed for free, like, why not? So I was like, man, I really want to get Kane Hodder, but I've met the guy so many times, man. I'm not waiting in his line again. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not doing it. And my buddy Corey, my fellow Fredhead Corey, was like, he overheard me say that, like, yeah, I want to get him, but I don't want to wait in his line. He was like, I have a line jump pass that I'm not going to use. Do you want it? And I was like, yes, I do. Thank you. So I got to go to the front of Kane's line, and he signed my poster, and he was like, we're not doing a picture. And I was like, Kane, I've literally met you 800 times, and I have 800 pictures of you choking me. Like, I'm good. I don't need another picture, but thank you. He was like, oh, well, it's always great.
See, now, I would never, ever say no, I guess, but I guess I understand, but...
Well, he charges for those pictures now as well.
Oh, he does? Okay, yeah. I gotcha now. All right, well, that makes total sense.
Yeah, and he doesn't do that. How much? He doesn't, I think it's $20.
$20.
I have so many pictures with him. Why do I need to pay $20 to get another one? But actually, I don't think he does the choking pictures anymore.
I don't think he can, because he had the lawsuit, right?
That's what I've been told. I don't know whether that's just like fan talk, like he got fucking sued, and then like it's kind of like the Richard Gere gerbil thing, bro, I mean, where people just go, yeah, that sounds right.
You've had his hands around your neck. When he did it to me, he definitely fucking choked for real. Like, it definitely hurt a little bit. So. And
then he fucked up that at that Monster Mania, like, a fan had a machete, like a real machete, and he went to slam it down on the table, and his friend that directed the movie Death House, I think last second he was trying to move something out of the way, and dude, the machete caught his arm, and it was like a literal horror film. Like, he ran to the bathroom and blood was squirting out of his arm. Like, people uploaded pictures onto social media of just like puddles of blood. So needless to say, that was the last Monster Mania event that they allowed any weapons of any kind, any real weapons.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I did, man. I got to eat some delicious pizza. I got to eat at Skyline Chili, which was great. And I, had the White Castle thing, man, and it was great. Pooped a lot.
And you shat that shit out the next day,
probably
in epic fashion.
No, probably that same day. Probably that same half an hour later, yeah.
See, I've never had White Castle, and I remember about a year ago for B-Ratty's birthday when we went up to hang out with Vintage Horror and saw Scream, there was a White Castle, and I was like, I want to eat that when I'm hungover. And then when I saw it, I was like, nah, I'm good.
I like it, man. It's, I'm going to be honest with you. It's just like, it's fast food. You know what I mean? Like, is it groundbreaking? No, but was it tasty? Yeah, it was. It was.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, especially if you haven't had it in a while.
Do you have any near you, Brady?
No, the closest ones are in New York.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, so...
No, we have a Shake Shack up here, which also gives me the runs, but,
Shake Shack's some shit, though. That's some good fast
Here's
food.
my story about Shake Shack. So, Paige and I have these friends that I met them on the one friend's birthday. Oh. Yeah. It's an entanglement. Thank you. But we were going to the casino, so they like rented an Airbnb outside of the casino in Maryland, National Harbor, and we went. Everybody's drunk by the time we got there because we were late, because it was also like my family's Thanksgiving dinner. Anyways, I had never been to a casino, and I was like, I am fucking ready to just play some games. Like, I'm not going to go crazy. Here's my allowance, but I want to go to a casino. So we all go there, and birthday boy's like, hey, I really need to eat something because I'm feeling pretty hungover. Like, already. I've already, like, puked my guts out tonight.
And they got that Shake Shack right there in the casino.
Yep. And I was like, cool, there's plenty of restaurants we can go to. We went to Shake Shack. And then we waited in line for, like, 30 fucking minutes. And then after we ate, I'm like, all right, let's go hit the floor. And they're like, actually, he kind of wants to just go home and go to sleep. He's not feeling great. So we all went to a fucking casino just to eat Shake Shack and then went right back to the Airbnb.
Was your fucking ankle tied to him, motherfucker? You couldn't have made a big boy decision for yourself. Like, all right, you go get some rest. Would you fucking get in bed with him and massage your shoulders?
Everybody was leaving.
See, this is why we're here, B-Ratty, to school you and educate you and be your fathers.
Yes.
So we can tell you
what
you should do in certain
circumstances. The last time we all went somewhere together, I ended up the one passed out in a hotel bed while you guys went out and did whatever the fuck.
You're supposed to. You're the youngest.
Right.
That's part of your initiation.
I will say, that was like the weirdest sense of time. Like, I would wake up just here and there and not realize what time it was. Like, remember, Jeremy, when Justin was sleeping, you and I went to get pizza and it was like 11 o'clock at night and we're like, oh, it's like 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Time just didn't exist.
I would die now because, like, I'm on, like, dad time like a motherfucker now. So, like, 11 p.m. is, like, fucking middle of the night for me.
I've always wondered, like, when we've done trips and shit, how you were able to function with, like, zero sleep. But
you know how? Because he slept in the backseat of the car while we talked about cannibalism.
That's right.
Well, cannibalism
and then peed on the side of the road, which I still have that picture.
I have that picture as well. It will forever be ingrained in my brain. But that's fucking awesome. I didn't do much the past couple. I'm moving, so that's what's going on in my world. I got to get the keys to our house. We closed on it 2 days ago, and we're going to be doing that move. It's
a nice sized trailer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you excited to finally, like, display a lot more of your collectibles?
You mean like almost all the ones that are sitting in storage for the past 7 years? Yes.
Oh, yeah,
the answer to that is yes. I'm going to have to go through a lot of shit and probably sell a lot of it off or donate it because I collected like literally everything for a long time, and I definitely don't need or want all of that. But I'm most excited to build a podcast studio. So for our listeners, it's going to be fucking rad, man. Like, I'm really looking forward to creating something so we can do more video content and all of that cool shit because I'll have the space to do it. But other than that, I actually went to like 3 concerts in the meantime. That's all I've done. That was fun. I saw the Midnight this last weekend, and they were amazing as always. The week before that, I saw Alpha Wolf in Baltimore, and they fucking destroyed.
Also love them.
And then the week before that, I went and saw Vane at the Black Cat in DC, and it was probably the most intense, fucking aggressive metal show I've been to in 10 years. Like, it felt like I was my old self again, and people were just nuts. It was absolutely fucking, oh man, just like taking a shot of aggression and just putting it right into your arm, and it was just fantastic.
That's awesome.
You were like Batman at the end, where he starts beating the shit out of him.
Yeah, it was literally, I mean, I was standing there, and the weird thing was going to these shows, and I, you know, you guys are aware of my normal my normal regimen, if you will, going to shows. I usually have at least a handful of drinks, and I went to all of these shows sober since I haven't been drinking anything, and it's a really weird feeling being there and like really soaking in the music and
in the moment,
and the live
actually there,
being like really like focusing in every fucking bit of every second of music. So it was really awesome, actually. Awesome. I mean, so yeah,
dude, I saw Glassjaw last week.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Dude, I gotta tell you, man, I'm feeling every bit of 38 years old, because I was like, me and my buddy, we were sitting in the seats above, like, you know, we paid extra to be able to sit and, you know, be in the box seat
at the
area.
Fillmore?
Yeah,
that's a great area.
And dude, like looking down and seeing the people throwing the fuck down was crazy. You know what's funny is that my drummer and my bass player were at that same show, and then a guitar player from another one of my bands was there as well, and they were like, "You're going upstairs?" I was like, "Yeah, bro. Like, I worked today. I'm tired.
I'm old as fuck."
And they were like, "You fucking pussy." And I was like, "Yep." As I sit in my comfortable seat and get to actually enjoy the show. But it was it's different, man. Going to metal shows now is different, because I look at how, you know, I'm like, man, I used to be in those pits and doing that shit, and now I'm like, that is a quick trip to the hospital. Easy.
I definitely debated that when I was at Vane. Like, I was right there on the cusp, like right on the outside of the pit, and I really wanted to like fuck some shit up. And I was definitely like moving around a little bit, but I was like, man, I used to be doing spin kicks and shit all over the place. I'm like, I'm not about to fucking pull a muscle or anything like that a few weeks from moving to a new place. So,
oh god,
you know, ruin my gym shit too, bro. But
well, the worst is when you get through like the show and you feel fine in the moment because of all the adrenaline, and then the next morning you go to get out of bed and you're like, oh fuck, what did I do?
Dude, I've dislocated my jaw at shows from going in the pit.
That's from going to the bathroom.
I've broke my ankle. I've done all kinds of crazy shit. You know, broken my hand like 3 times, boxer's fracture and whatever. So all back in the good old days. Not all about that now. So especially not when I'm sober. I'm like, I can actually think about those things before I make bad decisions. But enough of all that nonsense. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here to talk about fucking horror movies. And on this date, it is April Fool's Day. We thought it proper to talk about the 1986 American black comedy horror film, April Fool's Day. So we're going to take a quick promo break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about that Amy Steele, baby, in April Fool's Day.
April Fools.
We'll be right back.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nick. I'm the host of Nikolai's Kitchen, and I'm also the host of the annual Live Stream for the Cure. Live Stream for the Cure is a charity event where we raise money with content creators and podcast partners from around the world for the Cancer Research Institute, a wonderful nonprofit researching cancer immunotherapy, training the body's immune system to fight all forms of cancer. This is a mission and a future that I truly believe in. And myself and my team worked tirelessly over the past 5 years to raise over $50,000 for this cause. This year, we're aiming for our biggest single goal to date of $20,000, and we cannot do it without your help. Please join us for the event May 19th through the 21st, starting at 9 a.m. Eastern, for 45 hours of content from people all over the world. Together, we can bring hope for a future immune to cancer. The more eyes we reach, the more dollars we raise. Please help us in making this goal a reality. Together, we can make a difference.
And we are back with April Fool's Day from 1986.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, baby.
Yep.
All right. When was the first time you guys saw this movie?
I can answer it first. I remember my dad renting it for me, and I was super pumped, man. I was probably 8, years old, 9 at the oldest, and I was burning through slasher films. Like at that point in time, which not much has changed since then. Like slashers were my fucking favorite thing. So I saw that box art with the chick with the weapon behind her back, and I said, all right, well, cool. Let's do this one. It looks like it's gonna be rad. And so I'm gonna tell you right now, I've only seen this movie twice. I saw it when I was 8 or 9 years old, and then I saw it yesterday.
Holy shit. So you weren't lying when you said, it'll be great to do this episode because you haven't revisited it in 20
I was not joking. I have not seen this movie in like 25 fucking years. And you know what's funny is how lazy I guess I am. I don't want to lump anybody else in with it. I own this on DVD, right? And so all my movies are downstairs. So I was like, all right, I need to watch this movie. So I looked and it wasn't streaming on anything that I had. And I was like, fuck. I was like, all right, well, it's $2.99 on Amazon. So rather than walk downstairs, and I have a portable DVD player too. So rather than walk downstairs and grab the DVD, I was like, well, I'm spending $3 and I fucking paid to watch it.
Hey man, time is money,
Yeah.
$2.99 going down 3 levels of stairs,
So yeah, I watched it, and there it was, and we'll get into it,
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, very similar situation as Jeremy, and I know we talk about this all the time on the show, but fuck me, do I miss the days of going into a video store and picking up a movie solely based on the box art. I mean, Jeremy said it perfectly. The front cover is the chick with her hair is braided into a noose, and she's holding a butcher knife in front of a table full of other characters. It instantly sparks your interest and grabs your eye. And I remember I was like 15, 16-ish. I was dating a girl named Jen, and it was summer, and we were literally going to the video store that her older brother managed as a high schooler.
Shout out to Jen
back then. Shout out to Jen White, who we still talk once in a while.
Tell her you name dropped her in this episode.
Well, I'm sure she's going to be so excited and how exclusive that may be for her. Yeah, so I mean, I remember we were going through like Jeremy said, like everything they had, and they didn't really have a very wide variety of slashers. They had a few of the Friday the 13th. They had mostly all the Halloweens and shit. So this was one of the only other ones that they had. And we rented it, me and my buddies. And, that's something we're going to talk about in this discussion is expectation versus reality within a movie. And if, what they're trying to do with their twist works or it doesn't, because this movie, you could go either way with it. And just like when it came out in theaters, it was literally split down the middle. People hailed it for its originality and the suspense and trying to do something different with the genre. And then other people like us that probably went to the theater to see a slasher walked out of it like, what the fuck? I want my money back. And that actually did happen with this movie, but we will get into that. So I will throw it back to you, though, B-Ratty. Was this your first time watching it?
No, this wasn't my first time, but like Jeremy, It was only my second time. It kind of goes into like what you're saying about walking into the movie stores back when you guys were young. I didn't really have that. I mean, we had like
a shame you didn't get to experience.
We had a Hollywood movie, but my parents wouldn't really ever let me go in. They would go in and like pick something themselves. But I'm a huge like champion of streaming services, and for me, it's the same thing. Like you just see everything lined up there. And so how I saw April Fool's Day was I saw the cover. I think when I saw it, it was streaming on Shudder, and I was like, that looks fucking cool, like with the hair and the noose. And I had no idea what it was about. Just turned it on and started watching it. I saw it was like a little over an hour and a half runtime, so easy to knock out before work one day. And then that was about 3 years ago, and so I rewatched it again the other day for the episode, and it wasn't like blurry at all. Most of it still stuck with me, but there still were a few parts that I was like, oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched this movie a handful of times, and I think it was 2 years ago or a year ago or so when Scream Factory, if you will, put out a 4K restoration special edition Blu-ray, which I bought, which is absolutely gorgeous, mind you. So if you're listening to this and you like the movie, or after hearing this, you want to see the movie, pick it up. I'm pretty sure it's still in stock. It's not out of print yet. Gorgeous looking fucking movie, man. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh yeah,
but,
I think. Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
no. Interrupt
this
me all
movie,
you want, motherfucker.
This
I'll
movie
put
is
you over
much
my
for
knee right now.
Okay, you know what? I'm done. This movie for me, one of the biggest things that sticks out on the rewatch was that it gives me that overwhelming feeling of springtime.
Yeah.
You know, where like a Friday the 13th movie might give you the feeling of summer. Halloween is obviously Halloween. This one, like, just watching it, especially the shots of them like on the ferry going over across the lake, I was like, man, I'm ready for it to be spring.
Did it give you the spring
outside.
fever? It gave you the spring fever.
Give me the spring
smelling
fever.
The flowers, your balls are getting hard, your dick's starting to get erect, and you're like, I'm ready to jizz, man.
Well, that was Amy Steele. But yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so this movie came out, and it made some money. It looks like it was like, I think 3.4 million during its opening weekend. It ended up grossing 13 million and on a budget of 5 million. You know, that's
a win.
Small success, but it was Paramount Pictures, and they were the house of Friday the 13th and Jason Voorhees. So typically those movies made a decent chunk more than that.
Which it was produced by Frank Mancuso Jr., who was producing the Friday the 13th films. This movie looks like a Friday the 13th film. And I'm not just because Amy Steele is in it and she was in Friday the 13th Part 2, but it literally looks like a Friday the 13th movie, to where I was watching it, and my wife walked in the room, and she was like, oh, are you watching a Friday the 13th movie? I was like, well, no, but yeah, it looks exactly like one.
Yeah, and so this movie, to those uninitiated, follows a group of college students vacationing on April Fool's Day weekend on an island estate, which is infiltrated throughout the movie by an unknown entity / assailant. And of course, hijinks ensue, and shit hits the fan, and it goes in nutty directions. I think this movie tends to go more towards the suspense thriller than it does the slasher, because any kind of deaths that occur in the movie happen usually off screen, and we know why. So I just want to give a spoiler warning now. If you haven't seen the movie, you probably should go watch it before you listen, because we're just going to talk about the entire thing. And this is the kind of movie, guys, and I don't know how you feel about this, but that if you already knew the twist going in, I feel like the movie wouldn't work for you.
It's like an M. Night Shyamalan thing. Like there's some of his movies that have replayability, right? Like Signs. I love that fucking movie, but it's like watching The Sixth Sense. The whole time you rewatch it, you're analyzing the fact that you know the twist, right? You know that Willis's character is actually dead, and it makes you watch it in a different way. There's not, that huge ending that blows you away, like, oh, he fucking got me. This, and I feel like that's one of the reasons I haven't watched this movie in 25 years. I remember the twist. And we'll get into it, but it's hard going back and rewatching this thing over and over again, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think definitely knowing the twist gives you a different perspective on the movie, but even just in the 2 or 3 years between my two viewings, like I still found things about it I enjoyed. So I don't think it's completely unrewatchable, but I think the ending just kind of hangs overhead the entire time. So there aren't as many impactful death scenes once you kind of know what's going on.
Yeah, you're kind of sitting there waiting for the end to happen, just because you know it's coming. But I won't lie, like this is sometimes an annual viewing for me on April Fool's Day. It's an excuse to go revisit it. And I think when you know the twist in particular for this movie, you find yourself really just analyzing everything a lot more, like every setup, all the pranks, the build up to everything, which the movie has a fantastic build up. There's a fantastic level of suspense throughout the movie at times. And when you go into it blind and you don't know, I mean, the funny thing is the movie's called April fucking Fool's Day, right? So you see that these characters are starting off immediately with pranks. Like it's within the first 5 to 10 minutes that you're seeing them pranking each other, that you should be aware, I think, to be guarded and be like, well, is everything I'm seeing real? Or are there going to be a lot more fake outs? Because there's so many fake outs really early on in the movie. What I find interesting about this movie is it came out in 86, and it's an attempt at a holiday-themed horror movie, like many years after that was a thing, when the slasher film of that era, minus the big hitters like the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, the Friday the 13th, had really gone down in popularity. So that might also be another element in why it didn't, blow up the fucking box office. Also, Paramount Pictures, much like many other studios during that era, had no idea how to market this thing. And they ended up marketing it as a straight up slasher, which I don't think was minus that cover art in the poster, I think it was probably a mistake to do that.
For sure.
Oh, 100%.
The one thing that I'll say about the beginning of this film is I really like the characters in this movie. They're not like your cardboard horror movie characters. They're all very distinct. And I said a similar thing on our last episode talking about X. This film does a great job of making each character as identifiable. Is that a word? Identifiable?
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
Brady's the English majors.
Okay, there we go. Cool. I know words that have more than one syllable. It's great. You
Congratulations.
So you can look at these characters and they all have their own distinct qualities and they're all likable, man. And I remember being super young watching this, being like, "Oh shit, Biff's in this motherfucker." Biff,
Yeah.
Biff
Oh, yeah.
from Back to the Future. Thomas Wilson? Question mark? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right, Thomas F. Wilson, yeah.
Yeah, we met him, all of us.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Or you mean we paid to stand behind him?
That's
Yeah, you guys got all the cool ones, and I got fucking
'Cause he
stuck
didn't
over at
say a
Christopher
fucking
Lloyd, who
word
didn't
to
talk
us.
at all.
Yeah, it was Leah Thompson who looked and said, "Hi, guys," or whatever, and the rest of them just stood there like cardboard cutouts.
yeah, they did. It was fine. But
But we have a picture
Yeah.
with him, though, and he's smiling, so that's cool.
Biff was in this motherfucker, and dude, he was very unlike Biff in this movie. He was likable. He was funny. I dug his character, and one more call out is Clayton Rohner gave the ladies a boner. No, stupid. He played Chaz in this movie, and you know what? I dig the fuck out of his outfits in this movie and his hair.
Oh, I'm with
Dude,
you, bro.
He reminded
love
me
his look in
of
this
Christian
movie.
Slater from True
Yeah,
Romance.
I'm like, dude.
Like,
he's-
watching it, I was like,
I'm like,
okay.
this movie came out in '86, and I would rock the fucking shit out of that outfit and that hair right now.
I'm with you, bro. And also, he, as an actor, he's in one of my favorite teen comedy movies of all fucking time. Just one of
There
the
you go.
guys. He's fantastic in that, and also dresses really great in that as well. But on the subject of the cast, I think the cast is fucking fantastic. I think they're all really good actors, and they all bring something really special to each one of their individual characters. And a lot of them have a heavy horror pedigree. Clayton was also in The Relic. I know Ken Olant was in Leprechaun.
Ugh, yeah.
Deborah Foreman, who plays Muffy, she was in Valley Girl. That's not a horror movie,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean? Like, these people all went on. Griffin O'Neill was in The Wraith and Ghoulies 3. Amy Steele, Friday the 13th Part 2. So it's such a great, like, horror pedigree in the movie. And then we have Fred Walton directing, who is the guy who made one of the best horror movies ever during that era, When a Stranger Calls. And he kind of has this horror pedigree, and he started this idea of wanting to do horror movies based on the urban legend of the guy inside the house. The phone call is coming from inside the house, and which became like a trope within almost every fucking slasher movie after that. So this guy's kind of like, to blame and to thank for that classic element of a slasher movie. So he brought something, I think, a really special type of direction to this movie. So it's got all of the talent in place to make something really great. Does it work? Does it all work? Does it work a little? That's the question.
Yeah, I do. Going back to the beginning, Jeremy, you talked about the characters. Yeah, I think it's a great introduction for all of them, and they seem to mesh together really well. But the thing that stuck out for me is like that found footage kind of aspect where they're filming each other. And so it gives anything that starts off with a sort of found footage or you're watching people film each other always just kind of gives me the creeps because it's so ominous. Yeah. And so not knowing anything about this movie, and it starts off with Mary being filmed talking about her name, I was like, oh man, is this about to be like some sort of snuff film?
Did it frighten you that she says she fucks on the first date?
That's a little intimidating.
Yeah, no, it is. I love that element that it opens up with. Like, think about it, back in '86, that was fresh, man, because camcorders like had just started to come on the scene like really heavily. So that was definitely like almost artistic in the way that they had developed that for the opening of the movie, because the movie opens with that aspect ratio.
Yeah,
like the actual Paramount logo is in that aspect ratio of video. So that's really cool.
It was good. And then, not to get too far ahead, but once they're all. It just goes in line with the characters. Once they're all getting on the ferry to go across, and Chaz goes over to the boat dock guy, and he's like, "Excuse me, sir, your fly's down, and your Hostess Twinkie's hanging out." And he bends down to look, and he just kisses. He goes, right on the forehead.
So funny, dude. So funny.
I found myself in this movie being like, what the fuck is going on with these characters? But like in a believable, like, this is just how your friends act. Like, this is something I could see Jeremy or Justin doing to somebody. Like,
oh man, how about the dude that Springsteen's still the boss? So many funny little lines in this movie.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think by far it's written way better than your typical generic run of the mill fucking body count slasher. I think that they were really trying to create something top level in terms of like a suspense thriller. Like they wanted these characters to be at least semi-layered and give them some kind of depth where they're not just, numbers to be picked off one by one. And I think that's really the dialogue in general. It's very snappy. There's a lot of funny jokes. There's also a lot of strange, like light homophobic vibes at times. I'm happy it doesn't go into like mean-spirited territory, but there's a lot of, them laying in the bed together, and then Thomas Wilson doing the gay voice, which he actually could play a proper gay character in a movie. He sounded perfect. But luckily, overall, the movie itself, it knows its tone and it sticks with it. There is a lot of sex talk in this fucking movie. I mean, we're talking, you hear the word anal penetration in a scene where you see hot dogs being cooked and then beans poured into a bowl. So it's like, what the fuck's with the beans? Oh, I get it. Yep. Hot dog, beans.
That and
there
that
it is.
And the plowing the field. Oh man,
yeah,
what a great one-liner.
But yeah, so this movie sets up right from the beginning, and you're seeing this group of kids. You're getting to know them, and you're seeing that they're pranking the shit out of each other. And one of the first pranks you see is, like, I don't know what the fuck the game was. Was it a thing in the 80s? Like, was it normal for dudes just to be like, yo, let's grab a switchblade and fucking try to stab each other? Like, I didn't know that was like a normal. I mean, other than like the fucking Beat It video. I don't know.
We never played that in Mennonite school, so I don't know. I'm gonna have to defer to you guys.
Yeah, no, it was like just kind of a strange thing. I'm like, oh, okay, so it was normal for kids to be like, yo, you wanna try to stab each other?
That was a really intricate prank, though. Like, they had to have like put a lot of thought and work in that, and like for him to be able to in a split second, like, put that little appliance on himself, like that was pretty intricate, man. Good for them.
Yeah,
good for them.
I mean, I think even before we see that, one of my favorite things about the opening is, this character, Muffy, kind of having this flashback. She's down in the basement. She's seeing this Jack in the Box, and then she's having this birthday party, and then like there's like this family friendly, like almost like Beethoven-esque fucking music playing in the background, like you're gonna have a giant dog jump on her lap and lick her or something. And then the Jack in the Box opens up, and it's like this fucking disgusting penis monster. Like a fantastic jump scare in that scene.
Oh, not all Jack in the Boxes look like that?
Just the ones that you have, Brady.
Did you not have a Jack in the Box when you were a kid?
I did, but I didn't really like clowns. So.
It is kind of an old school thing. Like I remember I had one, but it's not like kids are. I mean, Jeremy, you buying your kids Jack in the Box?
No, those motherfuckers are scary as shit.
I mean, yeah, it's an intricate prank, and especially like when Arch just like chucks the knife at him. I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And then comes up and they're all laughing, and then the fucking boat hand. Was it Buck? Was that his name? He's like,
Buck, yeah.
No, I'll just tie it in from down here. I'll tie it in from down here. And he's like laughing at it all. I was like, if I was this boat hand, I would not be having any of this shit. Like, I just jumped in here to save your ass on my boat. And now I'm just laughing in the water like, oh, these kids. Fake knives.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, so the name of the game is Stretch. I had to like look that up because I'm like, what the fuck were they talking about? And then they're like, what are you, a fucking wimp? It's like, shit, man. So, like, I mean...
I'd be like, yeah, I am.
Playing with knives, man. You don't fuck around with that. But, like, we see this character, Buck, the boat hand, and he looks like he gets, like, smashed, and he's got the big fucking eyeball hanging out of his head.
And it's not to be confused with Bucky from Halloween 4.
Bucky!
No.
Bucky!
Don't try that Halloween shit with me.
Don't try that boat and shit with me.
I love the boat prank with the dude that gets his face, quote unquote, like smashed from the boat, and he like comes up and his like face is all fucked up. He's got like an eyeball hanging out.
It's pretty.
I love that one,
screaming.
and like, dude, I remembered that, and I was like, oh shit, like it still hit for me. I was like, I really dig that.
I gotta be honest, at this part, I kept getting Sleepaway Camp, the opening, mixed up with this one, so I remembered the guy getting hit by the boat, but I didn't remember like him surviving and having the fucked up face. I was like, oh, it's gonna be like in Sleepaway Camp when they die.
But I mean, imagine that, like, you're a bunch of fucking young college kids, you're on this boat, you're prepared to have like a super fun weekend of partying, and it looks like an attempt at penetration with sexual interactions. And then you see this fucking boat hand get his fucking eye popped out of his head. And they're always kind of like, okay.
I was going to say, it didn't affect them.
Well,
No,
they
not
still
at all.
want to go get fucked up.
That's something that happens a lot in the movie, where there's are situations where, you know, as the suspense builds and we think some of these characters are being killed off and they witness some of these things, 2 seconds later, they're still trying to have sex with each other or making jokes or, you know, fooling around, if you will. So it doesn't necessarily play in the way that you think they'd want it to be, considering that they're trying to play it straight for the audience to not think that any of this shit is fake to the build up to the end. You know what I mean? I would think that you'd want all the characters to be like terrified by these events, not like, yo, I'll suck your dick, bro.
Yeah, I also think that the movie kind of suffers from, it's not a true slasher, but because it's marketed like one, you're expecting the killer to be Muffy, or you're expecting the killer now to be Buck because he's the one who's been hurt and like the revenge. So throughout the movie, you're like, well, this isn't really adding up. And so that's kind of like, especially on the second time around, you're like, well, this is why it doesn't add up. But I found myself on the first viewing being like wondering why does Muffy want to kill them? Why? I understand Buck, but Buck's in the hospital. Like nothing made sense.
This movie, and I'll just throw it out there early. I don't really give a fuck. This movie's really weird because it's a slasher movie, right? That has all the tropes of a slasher movie, but every single kill, it cuts away. Every single one to where it's like, fuck, that's the payoff. Like when you go to a Friday the 13th film, the kill and the close-up on the kill is why you purchase the ticket for admission. That's why we show up, is for those kill shots. That's what makes slashers great. This one was like, okay, it's a fucking slasher. One by one, the cast members are getting picked off, and every single time one of them's about to get it, they just they cut back to the rest of the group to where it's like, oh, dude, it's like if you was banging,
it's blue balls,
exactly.
Man.
It's like if you was banging chicks and stuff, and like you just didn't finish. Like this entire fucking movie was like, oh shit, cool, like dialogue, pranks, whatever. So it's like, to me, I felt exactly the same way watching it this time that I did 25 fucking years ago, where I found myself, even though I like the characters, I found myself kind of bored. And then all of a sudden when it gets to the kill scenes, I'm like, cool, the good stuff. And then all of a sudden it would cut back to the fucking group for more dialogue and antics and things to where I'm like, all right, well, fuck, man. And when it gets to the finale, and I'm not going to go into everything right now, but when it gets to the finale, it's like, okay, cool. I still dig the finale and the build-up quite a bit. And even, you know, Muffy's role in the finale, I really dig it because I was like, cool, now we're finally in slasher mode. And then you find out at the twist that, no, you're really not. So it's just weird, man. I found myself kind of struggling to get through this one a little bit.
No, I agree.
A lot of it has to do with it's a case of mistaken identity. And, you know, even Fred Walton himself said, you know, the tragedy he thought, or the great disappointment, was that Paramount didn't know how to release it other than as a typical slasher picture. So most audiences came in expecting to see something they weren't going to see. It's exactly what you just said. And how do you market a movie like this? I mean, there really is no safe or, I guess, financially sound way to do that, because you want people to come in thinking it's a slasher because it has those elements, it has those visuals, but it's really not at its core.
It's not a slasher, but it's kind of a slasher. It's not a comedy, but it's kind of a comedy.
But it's kind of a comedy.
It's more like a whodunit. That's how you bill it, I guess.
It's definitely mystery. But again, with a bunch of fucking young people and the sexual innuendos and stuff, all of the other elements are literally taken from all of the slashers that came before. Like, it's literally, you could say Friday the 13th, The Burning, Sleepaway Camp, all that shit. And you're trying to add a more mystery element, which I definitely appreciate that they tried to take that direction. It didn't help the movie in the long run with the box office or anything like that, and with critics, even at the time, people were confused. They're like, well, I like these elements, but I don't like these elements. For me, I think that the suspense in the movie is really the most important factor, and it has that because I appreciate a solid thriller as much as I do a slasher. And I don't necessarily dislike the slashers that we don't see all the blood, guts, and gore, because some of my favorite slashers, you don't see great kills. It's not a Friday the 13th, Yeah, so it's like, I appreciate what they tried to do. And, the special effects, I don't recall who it was that worked on this movie, but they were all well done for what they were, so... It really is that whole mistaken identity where it's like, well, what is this movie trying to be versus what it is?
What else is interesting is that this movie, the finale jump scare was such a prevalent thing in horror at the time too. So this movie again was a slasher film that wasn't really a slasher film, but they still included like a end jump scare at the end that, was also
to try to fuck with your expectations a little bit. Are they really going to do something?
Which was also a fucking fake me out thing. It's weird, man. And
then you get the fucking Jack in the Box winking, literally. I could see that pissing off so many people.
Sure.
And I guarantee motherfuckers booed at this shit when it came out.
Oh, for sure.
Just because of that.
I commend the filmmakers and Frank Mancuso Jr. and the studio for really trying to do something different. And I respect that it is different, but had the kills, even if they were pseudo fake kills, been a little bit more intricate and not cut away, and had some things been tweaked, I feel like this could be beloved. Like, I don't know, like if I was doing April Fool's Day, like I would have it to where, yes, like it was all this big elaborate scheme to play the biggest April Fool's joke on a bunch of friends, and then someone actually does show up and starts killing these people, and then they don't know whether it's real or whether it's not real. So it's like, half of it's prank, half of it's kill.
That's a really interesting direction. And then, of course, they would be totally caught off guard, and they would be really relaxed at that point because they'd be like, oh, it's all over with. It was just a prank. So if a real threat actually came into the picture, then it would be all that more terrifying.
Yeah, imagine if the
idea.
First half of the movie was like all the pranks, and then the twist at the end of April Fool's Day. What if that happened in the middle of the movie, and then back when they were like, oh, everything's fine, it was all a joke, it was all a prank, and then they really do start getting picked off for the last half of the film. Like, I think that's fucking rad, man. And I gotta be honest, I haven't seen the remake. Have you guys seen the remake?
No. The straight to DVD.
Yeah,
remake?
no, it looked like some cock.
No, and I think that's one of the things about this movie is it can really only work with that 80s charm of being an 80s movie. And coming from that time period and produced by Paramount, who was known for the Friday the 13th movies, which are, fucking all solid slashers in their own right. Doing a movie like this in a modern way, it's just, I don't see it. I mean, it's possible if you got someone like, the writer of Freaky or something like that, or the Happy Death Day movies. It is possible to do a black comedy / satire on the slasher genre and do it right, but not April Fool's Day. I mean, once you know what's coming, what's coming. You can't really do that over.
What's strange, even though I just said that it was tough for me to get through, I don't hate this movie because it has so many things in it that I do love. I love the cast. I love some of the great dialogue. I do love some of the fake me out kills. Most importantly, two things. I love the look of the film. It looks
100%.
Like all of the films that I adore. So it's like I watch it and I'm like, God damn, this is an 80s looking film, and that's the era of film that I love the most. And the box art, man. the box art and the look of this film.
Going back to that box art.
Both of those things I fucking love. So it's weird. I probably won't see this again for another 25 years, but I'm okay with it and I don't hate it. I don't know.
Well, to comment on what you were saying about the look of the movie, there are brief shots in this that I would argue that rival Dean Cundy's work in Halloween. There's some beautiful cinematography in there by Charles Minsky. And I'm telling you, listen, this guy was meant to do big things because later on in his career, he shot Kazam with Shaq.
Boom.
So
wow.
If this movie was any indication, this guy was on the fucking big things, the big shit. And it looks great. And,
Shaq fucking sounds like the laziest talker. Like he looks like he puts like he's so good at like basketball and all the other shit that he does that he's like, I'm not trying to put no effort into talking. Like he sounds like it's a lot for him just to fucking talk. He's like, I don't really want to waste that much energy doing it.
Well, dude does fucking commercials for every single product known to man.
The General Insurance. Yep.
Yeah, come on down and buy one of the cars.
Dude, I gotta say though, the fucking videos that came out over the pandemic and even a little bit before, where he was like having like DJ parties in his house, and he's doing like the drops. Oh my god, they're
hilarious.
Great. He's front stage like a EDM concert.
I'm pretty sure I had not only just one of his rap albums, but I definitely had Shaq Fu, the fucking video game for Sega Genesis.
That was a big deal, man.
Oh god.
Yeah, but
man, can you imagine if Shaq was in this movie?
I'm in this April Fool's.
No, of course.
Movie.
I mean, this is the mid '80s, and it's a slasher/horror movie. So of course, that seeing a black character in a movie during that era was probably slim to none, unfortunately. But
yeah.
Shaq would be a very welcome addition to this cast. He is fantastic in Kazam and one of the best actors to ever come out of basketball. What the fuck am I talking about?
He was in Steel as well.
That's that bona fide classic. Maybe one day we'll delve into, other shit kind of movie territory and we'll talk about Steel.
Well, I mean, you could call those a horror films.
They are terrifying, but one of the other things I wanted to point out that I thought was fantastic in the movie that adds to that beautiful horror cinematography is the score by
amazing
Deadly Friend composer Charles Bernstein, Emmy winner Charles Bernstein. I really enjoyed the score. It's very suspenseful and foreboding, and I think something so memorable about it is that memorable echo, which plays perfectly for the setting about a house on a large body of water. Do you guys ever put on subtitles when you watch a movie ever?
Yes.
Like for any reason?
Dude.
Okay. So when this score plays, because sometimes I'll have it on just for dialogue in case I miss something. When that score played, in quotation marks, it would just say suspenseful orchestral music.
Yeah.
Which I couldn't help but laugh at. But it's a great score. I think it's fantastic.
It's amazing.
Score. Super memorable.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, Brady, any other final words for you on the movie?
No, man. I mean, I was just going to say, like, on this time around, I was definitely more interested in the individual pranks that were played.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
So I was just going to ask you guys, like, what your favorite prank was, aside from the ending. Because my personal favorite would probably be when Rob and Kit are in the bedroom, and he's, like, upset because she's, like, trying to announce at the table that he's going to medical school, and he's like, my counselor said I'm not dumb, or I'm not serious enough. And then they're like, oh, let's get the champagne.
What a whiny bitch that dude was. Seriously,
he's the same in Leprechaun.
The entire fucking movie.
They get to the bedroom, and he goes to turn the light off, and as he turns one off, another one pops on. And he's just like getting so, because I have like, you guys know the feeling of like when you're ready for bed and you're already angry and like something happens, the dog's whining, whatever, and you got to get up and you're just like,
my wife tries to touch me.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm going to bed.
I am celibate, lady.
You had plenty of time to do that before we settled
When
in.
I say it's time for bed, that means it's time for bed. Okay? No touching.
But anyways, that's my favorite one. I thought that was funny. I chuckled a lot at that.
You know, the creepiest one probably is, and the weirdest one is like the tape recording of a baby in the closet.
Ugh.
I don't know. That's fucking, that sound in general. And I'm sure Jeremy, more recently than, well, I know you'll never have kids, Brady.
Yeah, that's right.
No one will reproduce with you.
Jeremy,
no one.
More recently, is used to that sound, and for me, I've always hated that sound so fucking much. So that, or I don't know, the cat clock behind the page. I just laughed at that one.
Can you imagine my offspring be a little B-Ratty Jr. with a little rat tail?
They're like, I don't want to be your spawn. Take me to Mennonite school.
He's gonna come out of the womb
from,
with that fucking
from Righteous Gemstones.
Night.
Brother Kelvin.
Night.
Better name that baby Billy Freeman.
Uncle Baby Billy.
Go on outside, nerd.
Fucking
Yeah, but no,
BJ?
that kid's gonna come out of the womb with a fucking Jim Gordon mustache, man. Rocking that shit.
I've been trying to rock this for like a year and a half.
Proud of you. My favorite prank-ish thing is also the light, like you, Brady. Like, I think it was just a really great moment, because even though, the dude is, like, upset and shit like that, like, Amy Steele is, like, trying to console him, and she's like, no, it's okay. And, like, as frustrated as he is, he's, like, just trying to turn off the light and go to sleep. He's already angry, and every light he turns off,
I'm in my tidy whities.
another light turns on. I also really enjoyed that one.
So I'm going to ask you guys this, because you guys grew up in this era. Did all underwear look like you were wearing a diaper?
Dude,
yes.
I didn't start wearing boxers until I was in middle school.
I knew you were gonna say that. Me too, man. Me too. I didn't even know they existed. I didn't know what they were until I.
And then I remember being in gym class in middle school, and like.
Oh my god, you're gonna say the same thing.
I was wearing whitey tighties, and like one of the kids was like, "Yo, motherfucker, you wearing whitey tighties?" And I was like, What are you wearing? And he's like, motherfucker, I'm wearing boxers so my nuts can breathe. And I was like, all right.
They can do that.
I'm wearing my no fear boxers.
No fear, bitch. Got the dog on them and everything.
That's right.
So I was like, I think I went home and was like, Mom, I can't wear whitey tighties anymore, man. Kids are saying shit. So
I'll never forget the first time I wore a pair of boxers, and I got them and they were like super silky, and I was like, oh shit, dude, my balls can hang in these, super comfortable. Yeah. All these years later, I don't wear underwear at all, though.
Really?
Like my dad, he doesn't wear
underwear.
I'm not having
condoms,
more kids
apparently.
or anything, so.
Or condoms.
I don't wear shit down there. I'm probably gonna have like ball cancer or something.
So you don't wear underwear, even like if you have like denim jeans on?
Bro, I wore denim jeans yesterday when me and the wife went to go buy a new couch, and my balls were sweating. I could feel it dripping down my leg. But no, I don't. I just, pre-COVID, I was wearing them because I had to go to work. But when I started working from home, I either wear my fucking sleepaway camp short shorts, or if I have to wear pants, I wear them, and then I come back home and put the short shorts
Hold on,
back on.
do you wear underwear with the short shorts?
Fuck
no.
Oh
my God, you're like...
The underwear would be longer than the short shorts, dude.
No, man.
Have you seen these short shorts?
Yeah.
They're meant for dudes to see your balls and dick hang out at the gym, so I don't want to disappoint them.
Yeah, you do like an overhead press, and all of a sudden, bloop, just falls out.
Actually, yeah, that does actually almost happen, but I'm like, whatever, dude. I'm like, you go to the gym, and if a girl has a nip slip or a butt slip or something, that's fine. So if my nut comes out, it's like not going to be a problem at all. I don't see that as, who's going to be really offended by it?
It's almost like
I'll just give him a wink.
You guys have seen waiting, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like that. We make it a game at the gym. Who has to look at somebody else's nuts?
I love how we're talking about whitey tighties and
dude,
nuts
yeah.
right now.
I had a guitar player in one of my bands named Chris that he wore these Dickies pants, and the word Dick-E really is prevalent in this story. So he had these Dickies pants that he really liked, but the zipper always accidentally came down on them. Like, they never stayed up for long. And so this was like back in the day when you wore boxers that had like the little button in the crotch area, so you could unbutton them and take your dick out.
Yeah.
Well,
great concept.
So he was in high school, and he was in like TV production class or something, and he said in the morning they all got in a circle and like did some type of like morning exercise or whatever. And he said that all of a sudden he just felt a chill, and he said he looked down and he said not only had the button became unbuttoned in his boxers, but his Dickies zipper had came down and his fucking whole dick was hanging out of his pants in class. And
the mushroom was out.
He said he was like, damn, why is it cold in my crotch? And he said he looked down, and he said that when he looked down, he noticed a couple other kids look too, and his fucking dick was hanging. He was like, oh, and like put his dick back in his pants. But could you imagine the terror of, I was in a circle of peers and my dick appeared suddenly out of nowhere. That's like every high school kid's nightmare.
That's an entirely different kind of circle. We're talking about
dude.
that.
Oh man. So that story's always stuck with me because I'm like, yo, that's like one of my worst fears is that my dick is just going to be out in public somewhere.
Have you guys ever had that happen? Real talk? Like worried, not that you know that somebody saw it, but are you worried that there has been a situation where somebody might have seen your dick?
I'm positive that
Justin, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday when you're at the gym. Yes, I know.
Listen, no, I'm saying even like
Justin's like, I work out way more than that.
There used to be
brother. Here, brother.
There used to be this guy that I go to this bar all the time called Shigunda's. This is like we're talking like 18 years ago or whatever, shithole dive bar. And every time he saw me, because I'd usually go there late at night, and I would be wearing like tough guy hardcore gym shorts and shit. No underwear underneath usually when I wore the gym shorts, even back then. And he'd always see me wear the shorts, and every time he'd get a chance, he'd try to pants me.
Oh my God.
You know, we'd all be hammered and shit. And he definitely did on a few occasions where like, packed, tiny bar packed, and he'd come up from behind me coming out of the bathroom or something, and he would just pull him right down. So that is actually on more than one occasion occurred, and I did not give a fuck. I mean, I tried to punch him afterwards just because, go fuck yourself, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't think I've had any
balls.
public prying eyes staring at my fucking dick. I don't think that's happened to me, not that I can think of offhand. Because I have been very concerned that would be a thing one day. I feel like I check my zipper constantly. Like, because my buddy Chris's story fucked me up so much that I feel like I do check my zipper quite frequently every day.
Yeah, I know for a fact that people have seen my penis because I used to have to strip down to take a shit, like completely nude.
Dude, so did I.
Whether I was at home or in public. Yeah.
If I'm home, I'm still getting butt naked to take a shit.
Oh yeah, there's nothing like just taking an ultimate free dump. But anyways.
I gotta say, I gotta comment though, real quick. We're not going off on a tangent too far because this show has always covered the discussion and topic of taking shits and dicks.
Yeah.
Two huge subjects on this show always. So, to new listeners, get used to hearing this on more than one occasion.
If you're just like, what is happening right now? Fucking, it's April Fools. April Fools, bitches.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha! That's really funny, you guys. Fuck you.
But anyways, so yeah, that's all of our hanging dick stories.
That's all of our. No, I got plenty of more than that, but we don't. That's like a whole other. Maybe that'll be like a. We'll have to ask our listeners if they want a full Patreon episode. I'd be more than happy to sit down and talk more about that kind of shit. But no, I mean, like this movie in a nutshell, I think. It's some could look at it as a mixed bag. I always have a lot of fun with this movie, and I understand, why it won't work for some people, but I like the characters are so endearing to me. The dialogue is written so well. It's got a very solid direction. I love the score. I do agree with Jeremy that it holds back on the kills, but that doesn't necessarily bother me because I know in the end of the movie, there's a reason for that. If we saw like a dude getting an axe in the head, that would be a lot less believable when you figure out at the end. Spoiler alert, no one actually gets killed. Oh. Every single kill is off screen for the most part, and no one actually dies in the movie at all. Not a single death in the movie.
Nope.
So, yeah, the movie ends with Amy Steele comes in the room and she's fucking pissed. Like, she great performance by her in this movie, by the way, because she's really angry that she's been fucked with. Muffy plays this evil sister character, Buffy, where she looks fucking deranged and terrifies the shit out of her. And I think anyone would be scared. And I would be the friend where I'd be like, go fuck yourself. I'm leaving now. I wouldn't just be like, yeah, sit down and we're going to have a good time so you can tell me what you did. No, I'm out of here. Seriously, you fucked with me. You busted my balls way too hard. I'm out.
Well, poor Rob's stuck in the closet. I love you.
He got it the worst.
He gets the shit end of the stick.
He got it the
there.
worst.
Yeah, he definitely did. But yeah, so the movie, I can see, like I said earlier on in the episode, I could see audiences going to this, having it be marketed as a Paramount Pictures slasher movie and walking out and, the Jack in the Box winking at the audience says it all, really. Like, audiences don't like to be fucked with. They don't like their expectations to be messed around with versus what they think they're going to receive and what they get. It's just, a lot of times
it's
doesn't
like
work,
M. Night Shyamalan's
you know?
The Village. Remember how fucking angry people were over that fucking movie?
Oh, were they?
Furious.
I never saw it. It's because it's supposed to be historical, and at the end they figure out, it's actually
modern time.
and
It's like essentially a cult that lives in the woods with no technology, and there's not even any, like, it was billed as a monster movie, and there's like, you find out there's no fucking monsters. It's modern time.
Okay, to you guys, that community seems unrealistic. But coming from me,
you're like, that shit is real, bro. I lived that shit.
I was like, damn,
you lived that shit.
I lived that shit. That shit was my life.
Are we trashing or treasuring this movie, guys?
Yeah, no, I mean, we got to go around the horn here. I'll start with Brad.
So, I like the characters. I like the music. There's a lot to like about the movie, but I gotta trash it, man. Like, it doesn't have enough rewatchability where I can watch it every year. Like, it's gonna take some time in between. I think it's a good movie if maybe, like, you have a group of friends that you want to show to and you already are in on the twist, just to see their reaction, but I don't know, man. Like, the movie's cool, but all it made me do is go watch Friday the 13th right afterwards. So I gotta trash it.
Oh, you watch Friday the 13th movies every day anyways.
But I watched this one. Love Amy Steele. I think she was phenomenal in this movie, especially the ending with the chase and how mad she is, and she's just like really selling it. But I just don't think there's enough in this movie. And like Jeremy said, it's too wordy. Like, there's so much dialogue in this, and yeah, you laugh at it and it's funny.
It's like almost like Tarantino wrote this.
Yeah, it just, there's no payoff whatsoever.
That's fair.
So I gotta trash it.
Yeah, like I said, there are some things that I like about it. You know, I'm a collector, as you guys know. I like getting autographs from films that I dig. I can safely say that I don't own an April Fool's autograph nor poster. I do have the DVD, like I said, but that's the extent of it. I can't do it, man. I can't do it. I'm gonna trash it as well, because this is not a movie that I go to. It's not something that I love. This does have a cult following, because going to the conventions, there are people that love this thing. I've seen April Fool's Day shirts, people getting the autographs. So this is a cult film. I'm just not part of that cult. I'm not in on it. I don't love it. And yeah, I'm trashing it because it's not something I'm going to rush back to watch again.
Totally understandable. Well, I'm going to come out on the other end of that. I think I got to give the movie credit for at least attempting to subvert expectations during a time when most slashers followed a really simple formula and the same tropes. This does have some of the same tropes, but it tries to do something fresh and different. A lot like what we got with Freaky and Happy Death Day. Those movies, as modern horror movies and takes on slasher movies, work way better than this. But this was an early conception of that idea, that you could take this basic concept, play with it a little bit, have a little fun with it. And like the other boys already said, the characters are all fantastic. I love the dialogue actually in this, because it seems like someone that knows how to wrote the dialogue. And of course, Biff fucking Tannen. McFly, anybody home? Don't be so gullible, McFly. Any movie with Thomas F. Wilson in it is going to make me like it. So I watch this almost every year on April Fool's Day. My wife, strangely enough, loves this movie, which is weird. She actually looks forward to watching it. Whereas a lot of other slasher movies, when I throw them on, or movies of that era, and I hate to keep calling it a slasher because at its core it's really not, but it is. So confusing. But no, she enjoys this one, and this is one that we just have a lot of fun with it, you know? So I'm going to treasure it. It's a movie that I like. Would I buy a t-shirt of it? Probably not. If I met Amy Steele, would I have her sign a poster of it? Probably not, but I do own the Blu-ray and I do watch it a lot, and I really
It's not a bad movie. It's just not a movie that I love. Like, everything about it is it's really well made. It's not a piece of shit movie, so I'm not saying I trash it because I'm like, oh, that fucking piece of shit. I just know that I'm not gonna like rush back to watch it. So there it is.
Yeah, that's how it fell for me.
Yeah. That's it for this special April Fool's Day episode on April Fool's Day. We'd like to thank you for listening. And if you like what you're hearing, seriously, like, there's a place you can go to tell us that you like what you're hearing. Jeremy, you should tell them where they can find that place.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show again, Juice. Brendan, it was nice seeing you as well. If what fucking year did Jurassic Park come out? That was like 1993.
93,
In 1993, I saw the biggest pile of shit I ever seen on screen ever. It was a dinosaur shit. And if the shit was that big, how big was the dick that was hanging right above where it came out? That's the question I gotta ask. And GeoCities server's down, so the website's not up right now. My nephew Larry, he's working on it as we speak. Now, actually, he's at the bar, but probably this weekend he's gonna work on it a little bit. So thanks for that, Justin.
Yeah, head over to the Angel Fire instead. But no, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you're hearing, seriously, it's really simple. It takes 2 seconds. Head over to iTunes, leave us a 5-star review, or if you use Spotify, it's even easier. You just have to leave a star rating. You don't even have to say a thing. It's really simple. And if you want to chat with us, I don't really plug this often enough. We have a fan group. It's called Official Fan Group. If you go to our Facebook page, just search Epic Film Guys, and you'll see it.
Oh, shit.
Join.
MySpace.com
oh, no, here it is.
/epicfilmdumpster /
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I think we might be on MySpace. I think we might have started this at a time when I don't know, who the fuck knows. But thanks again for listening. And of course, I'm Justin.
Jeremy.
I'm Brady.
And as always, we like to ask you to keep it creepy. Slow. Too bad you're crazy. Too bad you're loony as hell. So long it could have been swell together. Too bad you're a wacko. Yeah, I'm gonna end it there.